Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Millennial Stoic Sage. Let's be honest, haven't you done it all by now? It wasn't easy, was it? Turning your back on your own needs, sidelining your priorities, all for their sake. You went out of your way to prove your value, to make them long for you, to show just how deeply you cared. Always available, always flexible, the one who would drop everything at a moment's notice. You were the reliable one, the kind-hearted one, always stepping in and never saying no. And what did they do in return? They trampled over you, treated you like a doormat, and acted as though your feelings didn't matter. They dismissed you, disrespected you, and tossed aside every ounce of care you offered like it was nothing. You tried to have a conversation. You tried to reason with them. Maybe you even pleaded, hoping for a shred of recognition. You gave them kindness, patience, and everything you had to offer. Yet, all you got in return was rejection after rejection. The more effort you put in, the more invisible you became. It was as if they couldn't recognize your worth, grew too used to your presence, and handled your heart with reckless disregard. But nothing changed. Nothing worked. You tried everything, and now you've run out of options, except one. The final, most impactful move you can make, silence. So, you removed yourself from their orbit. No more messages popping up on their screen. No more calls. No more casual, just thought I'd check in, moments. You've seemingly vanished without a trace. And that silence, my friend, will achieve far more than words ever could. It's louder, more powerful, and says everything they need to hear without you uttering a single thing. Now, the one they underestimated, the one they assumed would always be there, is gone. And your absence is weighing heavily on them. Outwardly, they might carry on as if nothing has changed, putting on a show for the world and acting unaffected. But behind closed doors, the cracks are showing. The silence is unbearable, every empty notification a painful reminder of what they've lost. They want to reach out, to apologize, but their pride keeps them trapped in quiet regret. Memories of the times they took you for granted play on a loop, as they slowly come to terms with the fact that they've lost something irreplaceable. In public, they wear a mask of normalcy, in private, they're drowning in regret, consumed by the shadow of what they so carelessly let slip away. In this moment, as they wrestle with regret behind their public facade, it's crucial for you to remain steadfast. Let them sit with that regret, don't take it away from them. So let's affirm together, folks, silence is my superpower. Say it like you mean it, silence is my superpower. Because trust me, it truly is a superpower. Stay with me for just a moment, and I'll show you the true strength of silence. But before we jump in, here's a quick, fun challenge. Tap that like button if these lessons have been helping you, and type today's affirmation in the comments, silence is my superpower. This is important, friends, because as the great Epictetus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you must to become it. Don't back away from this moment, it's your life, and this power is yours to wield. Why not own it fully? Write it down right now, silence is my superpower. Claim it, make it yours, and let it guide you. Stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this silence transforms the entire dynamic, how it shifts the power, leaves them questioning everything, and forces them to face the void they feel without you there to prop up their ego. Ready to see how silence can become your most powerful comeback? Let's dive in. Alright, folks, before we unpack what's happening with them and what's about to unfold now that you've chosen silence over disrespect, let's take a moment to tackle something that might already be weighing on your heart. I know you cared about them, deeply. Despite the way they treated you, despite being cast aside like an afterthought, your love for them was real. And because of that love, you're scared. Scared that if you remain silent for too long, they'll forget about you entirely. I see some of you nodding along, thinking, what if they just move on? That fear is real, and I know it feels like it's tearing you apart inside. But here's what you need to understand, they're not going anywhere. You might notice them wearing a confident mask, acting as if your silence hasn't touched them. They'll put on a show, pretending they're completely unbothered. But don't be fooled, that's just for appearances. Beneath the surface, there's turmoil. They feel the emptiness left by your absence every single day, even if they refuse to show it. Your silence has already spoken louder and cut deeper than any words ever could. Here's the reality: if they can't recognize your value during this silence, they never truly appreciated it in the first place. And let's be honest, do you really want someone in your life who only acknowledges your worth when faced with the fear of losing you? You deserve so much more than someone who takes you for granted until it's almost too late. This silence is more than just a pause, it's a test. A chance for both them and you to see things clearly. Because if they're too blind to notice your worth, even in your absence, the truth is undeniable: they don't deserve your love, your attention, or your energy. That's a powerful reality to accept, but it's also liberating. So stand firm. Now, let's explore what's next for them. Trust me, the impact of your silence has already started to sink in. And if you haven't clicked that like button yet, now's the time. It helps this message reach others who need guidance too. After all, there's nothing quite like giving others the strength to see their own worth when they need it most. Number 1, realizing you're gone. Here we are, everyone, the very first stage of their journey, the moment they realize you're truly gone. Don't underestimate the impact of this realization. They might be out there, putting on a show, acting as if life is carrying on as usual. But beneath that surface, the cracks are forming. That comforting presence they always counted on, the warmth they barely noticed until it was gone, is no longer within their grasp. And now, in the silence, it's hitting them. They can't just reach out and pull you back like they always assumed they could. This is the moment where many of us stumble. We feel a pang of sympathy or second-guess ourselves, thinking, maybe I should check in. Maybe I should remind them I'm still here. And before we know it, we give in, breaking the silence we worked so hard to establish. Let's be crystal clear: every time you break the silence, you weaken the power of your absence. You take away the space they need to fully feel the impact of losing you. This is not the time for reaching out or giving them the comfort of your presence again. Silence is about allowing them to sit with their own thoughts, confront their own mistakes, and face the emptiness they created. Here's another mistake some of us make: thinking our only job now is to sit and wait, staring at our phones, wondering when they'll finally realize what they lost. But let me tell you, silence isn't about putting your life on pause and waiting for their recognition. No, silence is about redirecting all the energy you poured into them and using it to build yourself up. It's about taking this time to move forward, grow, and strengthen yourself, mentally, emotionally, and even physically. See this as your opportunity to transform, to become the kind of person who doesn't wait for others but instead evolves and thrives, even in their absence. What if they love you? If they truly love you, your absence will be the wake-up call they need. It will force them to see your value in a way they never did before. Silence creates the space they need to confront their feelings, to truly understand what you meant to them. Think of it like planting a seed: it won't grow if you're constantly watering it. In your absence, that seed either takes root or withers away. If their feelings are genuine, your silence will hit them harder than anything else ever could. They'll feel the pull, an undeniable urge to fill the void you've left behind. And that's when real, meaningful change can begin. What if they don't love you? What if your silence doesn't affect them at all? Then let it uncover the truth now, rather than later. Silence is a powerful revealer. It separates what's genuine from what's just a facade. You're not here to make anyone see your worth or force them to care. You're here to see if they can sit in the quiet, feel your absence, and realize what they've lost. If they don't feel compelled to reach out or acknowledge your absence, take it as a clear signal: they were never truly worthy of the energy, love, or attention you gave them. As Seneca wisely said, "If you want a true friend, break away from the ones who would not grieve to lose you. This is the strength of this moment. Either they're mourning your absence, or they're moving on. And no matter the outcome, you win. Because you're uncovering who's truly deserving of your time, your love, and your commitment. Affirmation. Picture this, you're standing tall, eyes forward, not glancing back. You're building a life rooted in growth, strength, and purpose, a life that isn't shaped by someone else's recognition. As you move forward, trust that the universe will align the right people with your path. If they're meant for you, they'll catch up. If they're not, you're better off continuing your journey without them. Say this with me. I choose myself over their attention. My silence is my strength, and my path is my own. Write it down. Make it yours. And stick with me, because this is just the beginning of the journey. Right now, we can't decide if they truly care for you or if they'll find their way back. This silence is the foundation for uncovering those answers. There's more ahead, more moments where the truth will come to light, where their genuine feelings will either surface or fade. So don't rush the process. Don't jump to conclusions. Allow the silence to settle in and let them feel the full weight of your absence. This is just the start. Stay with me, because the next stage will bring even more clarity. Number 2, wearing the mask of indifference. This phase is going to feel intense, very intense. They'll likely pretend they're unbothered, wearing a mask of indifference that might make you question everything. They may appear composed, sharing upbeat posts on social media, laughing with friends, or even talking about how much happier they are now. But it's all for show, a carefully crafted facade. Believe me, this can be one of the most perplexing and painful parts of your journey. Their display of indifference may leave you doubting whether your silence is having any impact, or worse, if you ever truly matter to them at all. Let's be clear about one thing, their indifference doesn't mean they're unbothered, not even close. This facade of detachment is often the first shield people use when they sense a change in power dynamics. It's like a poker game, they're bluffing, acting as though your silence is insignificant background noise, all to preserve a sense of control. They're putting up a facade, trying to convince you that they're completely fine without you. This is where many of us get caught in a trap. We start questioning ourselves, thinking, if they truly seem this unaffected, maybe I should reach out. Maybe they really don't miss me at all. Let me assure you, this is the point where your silence begins to affect them, no matter how hard they try to hide it. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him." In this situation, your absence, your silence, is uncovering something within them that they're not prepared to confront. Rather than facing it, they choose to put on a mask, pretending they don't care, all in an effort to shield their ego. The mask is their shield. Think of their indifference as a shield, a barrier they use to keep their own emotions at bay. By acting like they feel nothing, they're hoping you'll be the one to cave first, to reach out, and to re-enter their life on their terms. It's like a tug of war where they're stubbornly holding their ground, but beneath the surface, they're starting to wobble. Behind that mask of indifference is a quiet panic, desperately hoping you won't notice the cracks beginning to show. This is the moment where standing firm is crucial. Remember, the mask is just a facade. Beneath it, they're feeling the weight of your absence, no matter how convincingly they pretend otherwise. This is also when you must resist the temptation to reach out or check if they're truly okay. You're not here to play into their game or alleviate their discomfort. The second you break your silence, you give them exactly what they're seeking: control. Your silence is having an impact, but only if you allow it to continue. The moment you step in, even out of concern, you surrender the power back to them. The quiet storm. Imagine it as a silent storm gradually building intensity. On the surface, they might appear to be moving through life as if everything is fine, but internally, they're starting to feel the weight of the emptiness. The mask they wear is a fragile attempt to convince themselves they don't need you, that they can move on without you. Yet deep down, the void is growing. It's like they're trying to cover a deep wound with a simple band-aid, clinging to the hope that it will somehow heal on its own. Your job: focus on yourself. This phase is where your resilience truly gets tested. It's tempting to believe that all you need to do is stay silent, but there's more to it than just waiting. Your silence holds power, yes, but it becomes a force to be reckoned with when paired with purposeful action. Instead of passively waiting for them to notice, turn your attention inward. Think of it as forging steel. Each day you invest in yourself, you're shaping a stronger, more confident version of who you are. And that's something they won't be able to overlook. What if they love you? If there's genuine love hidden behind that mask, your silence will reveal it. It will bring to the surface emotions they can't suppress indefinitely. When they witness your growth, your resilience, it will hit them. They'll feel the sting of what they're losing. That mask of indifference will begin to weigh on them, becoming increasingly uncomfortable as they struggle to keep their true feelings buried. They'll start to feel a pull, an ache they can't escape, as your silence grows into a powerful echo of their own emptiness. What if they don't love you? But what if there's no love behind the mask? What if it's truly empty? In that case, your silence becomes a gift to yourself, a way to uncover a truth you need to face. The last thing you want is to waste your energy on someone who doesn't genuinely care. If their indifference is real, then you have your answer. And that clarity, as painful as it may seem, is invaluable. It frees you to focus on where your energy and love will truly be appreciated. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." If your absence doesn't stir them, take it as a clear signal to release them completely and move forward. No regrets, no second-guessing. Affirmation. Here's the truth: whether they're masking genuine emotions or completely indifferent, your focus should remain on yourself. Don't let their pretense shake your resolve. Keep working on yourself, keep progressing, and let them face their own discomfort. If they truly miss you, they'll return on their own. If they don't, they've simply cleared the way for someone who will genuinely cherish and value you. Affirm this to yourself: I am unshaken by their indifference. I am building my own strength and worth. Say it to yourself. Repeat it whenever doubt starts to creep in. This is your opportunity to prove that you're no longer the person who gets drawn into their games or hurt by their facade. Every day, you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Stick with me, this journey is just heating up. That mask of indifference won't last forever. Soon, more layers will fall away, and the truth will begin to reveal itself in ways even they can't hide. Hold on tight, there's so much more ahead. Let's keep pushing forward. Number 3, feeling the weight of regret. Now, we're stepping into a phase they can no longer avoid: the weight of regret. In the beginning, they tried to play it cool, hiding behind a mask of indifference. But now, your silence is crashing over them like a tidal wave. They're starting to feel the emptiness, the void you've left behind, and regret is settling in like an unwelcome shadow they can't shake. At this point, they'll begin to replay every moment, every missed opportunity to treat you better, to show gratitude, to hold on tighter. It's as if they're standing on the edge of a cliff, looking back at all the things they took for granted. They're haunted by the realization that their thoughtless actions and lack of respect are now costing them something they never imagined losing: you. The sting of realization. Picture regret as a shadow trailing them, always lingering just out of sight, inching closer with every moment of your silence. This isn't merely about missing you, it's the painful acknowledgement that they made a choice, whether intentionally or not, that drove you away. Now, without your presence, without the reassurance that you're still there, they're left to confront a harsh reality: they undervalued someone they should have treasured. This is often the stage where people attempt to suppress their regret. They might double down on their social facade, still pretending they're unaffected, but that mask is becoming harder to hold in place. Inside, the regret is building like a quiet storm, growing stronger with every memory and every reminder of what they've lost. They know this isn't something they can simply undo. The power dynamic has shifted. The ball is no longer in their court, it's firmly in yours. They're no longer in control, and that sense of helplessness only deepens the regret they're now feeling so profoundly. Regret leads to reflection. If they genuinely care, the weight of regret will begin to sink in, prompting moments of self-reflection and humility. They'll start to recognize their mistakes, understanding how their choices brought them to this point. It's a gradual and often painful journey, but it's one that fosters growth. However, if they don't care, if regret doesn't lead them to reflect or change, that's an answer in itself. It exposes their true character. Because anyone who truly values you will feel the weight of regret and allow it to transform them into someone better. As the great philosopher Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." At this moment, they're coming to terms with the reality of what they've lost, and it's hitting them hard. They may not voice it, but believe me, they're carrying that weight. It's not just the ache of loneliness, it's the sharp realization that they had something genuine, something truly valuable, and they allowed it to slip through their fingers. The quiet ache. Regret doesn't announce itself with fanfare, it's a quiet, persistent ache that deepens over time. They feel it in the stillness when their phone remains dark, no longer lighting up with your messages. They notice it as they go through their day, realizing the absence of someone to share it with as they once shared with you. And they feel it most at night, lying awake, staring at the ceiling, reliving the choices that brought them to this place. Here's the reality, this is the point where most people start to truly understand the magnitude of what they've lost. But it's not your duty to lead them through this realization. It's not your job to rescue them from the weight of their regret. Affirmation. This is where you remind yourself. I am worth more than their regret. I choose myself over anyone's temporary feelings. Say it aloud if you need to. Let it settle within you. You're not here to wait for someone to finally recognize your value. Their regret is their burden to carry, while your strength is yours to build. Stay with me, this journey is just beginning. Regret is only the first step in what they'll experience as they face the reality of losing someone they thought would always be there. Stay strong, there's more clarity ahead. Let's keep pushing forward. Number 4, trying to replace you with someone new. At this point, they're starting to understand the effect of your absence. However, rather than facing their own behavior, they may choose an easier path. They begin searching for someone else, attempting to fill the void you left by bringing in a replacement. This phase can be painful for you. Seeing them quickly enter a new relationship or surround themselves with others, as if they could easily replace the bond you had, can feel like a harsh blow. However, don't be misled, this isn't about truly moving forward. It's just a way for them to distract themselves. The Great Escape. Imagine it like trying to cover a deep wound with a band-aid. By spending time with someone new, they're attempting to avoid dealing with the regret, the emptiness, and the reality of your absence. This isn't a real solution, it's simply a way to escape. They're using someone else's presence to hide the void left behind when you left. Even though it may look like they're happier or unfazed, keep in mind, new connections can't fix what they're trying to run away from. It's just a placeholder. When we lose something precious, our initial instinct is often to find a replacement, something to fill the void without needing genuine growth or change. But deep down, they understand this isn't the real solution. Their effort to replace you is more about coping than building a true connection. It's like trying to force a puzzle piece where it doesn't belong. It might seem like it fits at first glance, but it will never truly feel right. Your perspective. Watching them with someone new might make you doubt your own worth. You may ask yourself, did I ever matter to them? Was I that easy to replace? But here's the reality, it's not about you, it's about their inability to handle discomfort. A new relationship may appear to be a replacement, but more often, it's just a temporary fix. Something to pass the time and keep emotions under control. And if they can't realize this on their own, it simply reveals one thing: they were never truly capable of fully appreciating you to begin with. Affirmation. Hold on to this affirmation. I am irreplaceable. My value cannot be duplicated or replaced. Say it with confidence. Their behavior does not determine your worth. If they are turning to others, it simply means they fear the silence more than they are willing to commit to genuine growth or understanding the loss. Stay with me, because the journey isn't over yet. As they transition from distraction to real awareness, the truth will begin to reveal itself more deeply. Hang in there, this is just the beginning. Let's explore what unfolds as their world starts to truly come apart. Number 5, when their world starts falling apart. We've now arrived at the point where their world really starts to fall apart. Initially, they pretended to be unaffected, hiding their true emotions. Then, they tried to divert their feelings by finding someone new. But now, there's no escaping it. Their life is beginning to come undone. When you were their constant, their sense of security. Whether they acknowledged it or not, you provided stability in their life. Even if they took it for granted, your presence gave them a sense of grounding. Now, without that foundation, the cracks are beginning to show. They might have believed they could carry on as usual, but slowly and surely, things are unraveling. It's like trying to hold water in their hands. No matter how tightly they grasp, it continues to slip away. The emptiness of losing stability. As the ancient Stoic Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. They are starting to recognize the burden of their own needs and cravings. They're coming to understand that no material possession, fleeting connection, or momentary escape can fill the void left by the sense of comfort and meaning you brought to their world. This isn't solely about your absence, it's about the loss of the harmony and grounding you once offered. Imagine it as a house of cards. They've been piling on distractions, pretending to be self-assured, and dodging reality. But without you as the steady base, the whole structure is collapsing. They're starting to face the fallout of their decisions, and the pressure is becoming unbearable. Tasks that used to feel effortless now seem daunting, leaving them confused about the cause. But you understand the truth: you were their anchor. Without you, they're adrift, caught in the turmoil they've built for themselves. Life without you. Perhaps their friendships are starting to feel shallow, or their work no longer carries the same significance. They're uneasy, scattered, longing for the peace they once found in your presence. This is often the point where a deep, lingering sense of loss begins to take hold. The distractions and habits that once sufficed are now falling short. They're left confronting a difficult reality: they're struggling because they've lost someone who genuinely made a difference. Yet, this breakdown is essential. Sometimes, it takes losing something meaningful for people to truly grasp how much they relied on it. Their wake-up call. This is their moment of realization, the point where the illusion falls apart, leaving them to confront the consequences of their decisions. It's natural to feel compassion or even an urge to step in and assist at this stage. However, it's important to remember that this is their path to walk, not yours. They need to fully experience the weight of your absence and come to terms with the outcomes of their choices without relying on you as their safety net. Affirmation. Take a moment to remind yourself. I am the stability they lost, but my strength is my own. Let this affirmation anchor you as their world unravels. It's a powerful reminder of the influence you had and the reality they shaped through their own actions. Number 6, struggling in the silent void. Now, the distractions are slipping away. The new relationships feel hollow, and they're left in a stillness that feels more like emptiness. This is the stage they find most unsettling. The facades, the excuses, and the temporary escapes are gone. They're left with only the weight of their decisions and the haunting reminder of what they let slip away. The unfillable void. At this point, they start to feel an indescribable ache, a deep, gnawing emptiness they can't escape. For the first time, they're forced to face the stark reality of your absence without the cushion of distractions. They believed they could move on, that the discomfort would eventually fade. But the silence lingers, and the void remains unyielding. Lost in the desert. Imagine it like being stranded in a desert, wandering aimlessly, desperate for even the smallest hint of relief, a trace of comfort to soothe the aching emptiness. But in this vast silence, there's nothing. Only the stark realization that they've let go of someone truly irreplaceable. No matter how far they try to move, they find themselves circling back to the same desolate place, burdened by the heavy weight of your absence. The strength of silence. As the philosopher Lao Tzu once said, silence is a source of great strength. Your silence has become their vulnerability, their burden to bear. What they once took for granted, seeing your presence as constant and unshakable, has transformed into a haunting void. It's a stark reminder that they had something rare and precious, and they allowed it to slip through their fingers. Your role. This phase is challenging for them, and it might be difficult for you to witness. You may feel the urge to reach out, to check on them, or to see if they've come to recognize what they've lost. But keep in mind, this is their battle, not yours. They need to face this emptiness head-on to truly grasp the magnitude of what they let go. It's not your responsibility to rescue them from the void they created. Affirmation. Hold on to this affirmation. My silence speaks of my strength and worth. Let it serve as a reminder that your silence isn't a sign of weakness, it's an act of strength. It's a deliberate choice to honor yourself by stepping back and allowing them to confront the reality they've shaped. Stay with me, because as they wrestle with this emptiness, their understanding will only grow sharper. We're approaching the final stage, where the undeniable truth will emerge, even for them. The silence, the emptiness, it's all building toward the moment they're forced to confront the full weight of what they've lost. Hang in there, this journey is far from over. Number 7, breaking down or breaking through. Here it is, the final stage, the moment of truth. This is where they either crumble under the weight of their regret and loss or find the strength to grow, reshaped by the silence you held firm. After all the illusions, diversions, and efforts to mask the emptiness, they've reached the place where the truth can no longer be avoided. This is the crossroads, the turning point. The breaking point. For some, this is the moment they shatter. The regret, the solitude, and the silence become overwhelming. Rather than finding a way forward, they spiral downward, burdened by the weight of guilt and the aching sense of loss, convinced they've let an irreplaceable opportunity slip away. What they once believed would pass now feels like a permanent wound. Every distraction circles back to the same painful truth: you're no longer there, and they allowed it to happen. It's a gradual, quiet collapse. The cracks they tried so hard to conceal finally split wide open, and the fragile world they created in your absence begins to fall apart. Or breaking through. For others, this moment becomes a turning point. They start to view your absence not merely as a loss but as a catalyst for change. It dawns on them that this is an opportunity to confront the aspects of themselves that contributed to this outcome. This is where true growth becomes possible, if they can summon the courage and humility to face their flaws and take responsibility for their actions. Consider this stage as a defining test. They have two choices. Remain trapped in denial, allowing regret to anchor them in place indefinitely, or acknowledge their actions, embrace the lessons that silence has offered, and choose to grow. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your silence became their hurdle, compelling them to either rise to the occasion or stay stuck where they are. If they manage to break through, it's because they chose to learn and grow. If they collapse under the weight, it's because they couldn't confront the challenge head-on. Your role in their decision. Here's the key: their choice has nothing to do with you. No matter the outcome, whether they grow or remain stuck, you are no longer bound to their path. Their transformation, or lack thereof, is not your burden to carry. You made the courageous choice to step back, to let silence speak where words could not. You gave them the opportunity to confront themselves and their actions. You fulfilled your role. Now, it's entirely up to them to decide how to use the space you've created. If they choose growth, they may come back to you, humbled, transformed, and with a deeper appreciation for what they lost. But if they don't, that, too, is an answer. This journey was never about holding out hope for their change. It was about you rediscovering your strength, reaffirming your value, and protecting your peace. Affirmation. As you reach this final stage, let this affirmation anchor you. I am free now. Their journey is theirs, and my path is my own. Speak it with certainty. If they genuinely valued you and have the capacity to grow, they'll reach out, not to manipulate or seek solace, but to take accountability for their actions. If they choose silence, allowing pride or denial to hold them back, then you'll have your answer. You'll gain the clarity needed to move forward without regret or second-guessing. No matter what they do, you win. What comes next for you? You've evolved. You've changed. And now, you're free to face forward, leaving the past where it belongs. Every step of this journey was about taking back your power, establishing firm boundaries, and creating a life that honors your value. Whether they come to understand what they lost or not, you've gained something infinitely greater: clarity, self-assurance, and independence. This is just the start of a future filled with freedom, purpose, and relationships with those who truly appreciate you. Final thoughts. As we bring this journey to a close, let's reflect. Your silence wasn't an act of retaliation, it was a powerful decision to honor yourself. Their reaction to your silence told you everything you needed to understand. Now, you stand free, ready to move forward with confidence and purpose. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could benefit from hearing it. Engage with me. Before you leave, take a moment to share in the comments. Are you ready to embrace a new relationship, or are you fully embracing and loving your independence right now? Let us know where you are on your journey. And remember, this is just the start. You've already come so far, and the best is still ahead. Stay strong, hold your silence when needed, and always stay true to yourself. You've got this.